Emma Thompson photo sparks debate about fat suits in movies. The first thing I thought of was Austin Powers. And yes, we are probably past that.
The first thing I thought of was Insatiable from Netflix's 2018 show with Debbie Ryan.
The one
she wore a fat suit in that one, and I remembered that people were, I don't know, they were mad about it, but then also like saying it was an artistic decision. So
that's where most of my problem with this comes in. Is there's a lot of language from the author of this op-ed, which was from Metro, and it's basically the idea here is like they're trying to shame you out of doing art in whatever form you want to do it, which is a problem. So
you know what my biggest problem with all this is?
What?
It's a remake of a movie that was already good enough. Now we're making it a musical. It's an immediate no from me.
Oddly enough, I don't remember. I remember the cover to the movie very, very well. And the little girl was also the one, I believe she was in Miracle on 34th Street as well.
I can't speak to that, but I know that actress is related to Ben Shapiro. They're like cousins or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Wait,
dang.
Like first cousins?
Yes.
She
came out and was like, I don't even like him.
Before we get
started,
I'm going to look this up.
Yeah, what's her name? I'll vamp here and say.
Vamp here while I look for this. I need to know if this is true. I really like
the original Matilda. I mean, it's based off a Roald Dahl book.
Are we talking the 1979 one or the one from the 2000s?
2000s probably, because nothing existed to me in the 1979. I was not alive. Brett maybe was. I'm not sure.
I wasn't allowed to watch Matilda, even though I wanted to.
Because she's like magic.
Yeah, she like does witchcraft.
I'm not even sure she's a witch though.
What's
like
the
it's
point
not
of it?
clear to me that she's like not like telekinetic.
Mara Wilson?
Yeah, Mara Wilson.
Says Mara Wilson.
Google Mara Wilson, Ben Shapiro.
I'm
10 out of 10, definitely related.
10 out of 10, definitely
Do they look
related.
alike?
They kind of do. There's a little bit in the face there. I could see it. This is very interesting. We're getting off topic right off the bat, but this is very interesting.
I'm telling you, somebody in the chat, back me up here. I know.
Does anybody here know if this is actually true?
They're related, and she like came out and was like, "I don't believe in the things he believes."
Oh, so
right,
she actually
totally thought that you did.
She had to make a comment, of course.
Also, like,
interesting.
No offense to Mara Wilson, like, hope she's happy, but I don't think she's up to anything right now. Right?
I think I remember
denouncing her cousin is like her like most recent claim to fame.
Uh-huh.
I think she was a pretty pretty successful child actor. Anyways,
so we'll get into it now that we've just successfully sidetracked ourselves perfectly right away. It's great.
The Trunchbull, the 1996 movie is what I'm thinking of, and I think of the character Trunchbull, who I assume is
this character. Yep.
Having wear a fat suit. What is the objection? That it is wrong? They should have cast a fat person?
Yes.
The objection is that the fat suit inherently mocks fat people.
Which most of the people who point out to the contrary here say her size is never mentioned as anything other than the fact that she's built like a bull. It's never done as a joke or portrayed in a comical way.
But even if it is, I don't think that that's a problem. I think that's a joke that they're well within their artistic rights to make.
Yeah, I would say it's not her weight or her like bulkiness really is what I remember it being referred to in the book, and it's not that she is being mocked, but that it actually adds to like how terrifying she is, right?
That's a huge part of it. And
in some ways that like it would be like saying Maleficent, is that the one Angelina Jolie plays?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like her height or something.
Yeah.
Like you could cast her as a short actress, but the height adds to this sort of villainous persona.
So this is from a journalist named Emmy Harrison West, who wrote an op-ed for the Metro. It says, "Do we really need a skinny actress in a fat suit?" Harrison West wrote that such suits have been so normalized over the years that some people haven't even noticed, and that's what is so frustrating. The writer went on to state that this isn't Thompson's first foray into donning prosthetics to alter her appearance, having sported fake bingo wings and jowls for the Legends of Barney Thompson. I've never seen that, and added to her fame for Love Actually. She went on to write that seeing slim actresses in fat suits it's fat phobic and proves yet again that plus size women have to work harder to get recognized for jobs that should be by right theirs. No. You have no right to tell them who they can and cannot cast for a role.
Also, are you saying that it would be better if this person put on 100 pounds for this role?
Yeah.
I mean, then they earned it.
This also reminds me of when we were talking about
Thank you.
Bradley Cooper
getting
accused of anti-Semitism for having a prosthetic nose, and he dramatically changed his appearance for playing Leonard Bernstein. We talked about that
just recently.
not too long ago, and it's like in that case, do you want them to cast someone they think is very, like, quote, stereotypically Jewish looking, or do you just want them to find the best actor for the job?
That's what I said. The first thing that came to my mind is said, okay, so if we take what they're saying as gospel and that we have to cast somebody of that size, who is an actress that they would cast for this role that has the star power that Emma Thompson has the acting ability that Emma Thompson has? Emma Thompson is a fantastic actress and has the ability to pull this role off and add name recognition. This is the same thing when we talked about the trans character that they bullied Scarlett Johansson out of playing. Who would have done that role?
See, I think this is more closely akin to what's the Poison Ivy character? They were like, we're gonna have the first Asian Poison Ivy who's classically a redhead.
Yeah,
but there are redheads is a genetic thing. Like there are redheaded actresses in Hollywood or wherever. So to say, like,
it's very selectively enforced,
right?
How it's important for the actor to look like the person they're playing.
Yeah, I would
which
say
is not
that,
their
like,
job. Their job is to act like the person, not look like the person.
I would
although
say
that's a
that,
bonus.
like, if you're gonna enforce it this way, like that you're gonna have this weight, like only fat people can play fat people, then only redheads can play redheads, and only Asians can play Asians, and only like, which, you know, I know they selectively enforce. Like I remember with In the Heights, I think when they did that one, there was a huge like debate over whether people who are not Puerto Rican could play the Puerto Rican cast members or things like that. And again, you are totally right. Like, don't you just want someone who is good at the role at the end of the day? I understand honoring the description of a character to a certain extent, but again, this is only enforced when it's negative. It's stuff that like they believe there is a bias against.
Like this is like really just betraying that the fact that they believe it's a bad thing to be plus size, to be fat, overweight. Like, and I would agree, but they also aren't willing to openly admit that.
So I want to say, like, if you look at the list, they have a list here of like actresses who have donned prosthetics to change their to make themselves look bigger on camera, and they're all actresses that you would instantly recognize their name for. So you then understand why they got that role to begin with, because Amy Adams is Amy Adams, because Courtney Cox is Courtney Cox, Renee Zellweger, Gwyneth Paltrow, Julia Roberts, Mila Kunis, Sarah Paulson. All of those have a lot of name recognition, and when they're casting, like I literally, one of the segments that I shelved for today was I was going to. They're making a sequel. They're making a prequel novel to the movie Heat, which is my favorite movie of all time. And they like Al Pacino said that he wanted Timothée Chalamet to play him. I went through and like casted the whole movie if I was to make that movie today. And you have to take in a lot more factors than just whether the person looks like the character. You have to take into fact, you have to look at what their work in the past has done. Do you think that they're capable of portraying a character like this? Melissa McCarthy is a well-known a larger sized, is a well-known larger sized actress, but would she be able to do this role? I doubt it. Like it just doesn't make sense, right? So it says she concluded, continuing to ignore the countless talented actresses in the plus size community in favor of slimmer people is so degrading. There it is.
Oh,
it was like right away. The very first one. Right away. We're gonna try to work through it.
Oh my God.
Hannah Claire is very excited.
Let me just read this. Dragon Stalin 1001 said, just because Mary was on Timcast IRL. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I was too busy working rhubarb into a sentence to say fresh off her appearance on Timcast IRL.
You're ruining our game.
I don't know what game you're talking about. There's money everywhere. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Guys, bully Brett in the comments for not honoring our agreements. But yes, congratulations, Mary, on your debut on Timcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's a ton to say about this topic other than, like, I just don't agree, and I think that they are holding themselves to a strange standard. I cannot reiterate more than my redhead example. Redheads are a minority community genetically and on Earth.
Wait, you're a redhead?
I'm not, but, like,
okay.
my redhead example is my stronghold here. Like, they are a genetic minority on Earth, and yet it's okay to recast them with people who are not natural redheads.
Yes.
I don't think that we should hold the same standard for being overweight, but at the same time, like, you can't.
It's because they believe that being overweight is inherently humiliating.
Yeah, they're going to.
They're just betraying their own feelings about it.
Yeah, exactly. So it says somebody pushes back here. They says the original op-ed. It says reacting to the op-ed, Guy Branum tweeted, "I love Emma Thompson so much, but it was so strange to watch her do talk show appearances about body acceptance. For good luck to you, Leo Grand." That's like she has like a sex scene in there, and they're like talking about how like at her age doing a sex scene, it's like. There's body positivity type stuff in there about accepting what you look like at a certain age. I get that. And then she makes jokes about how gross her fat suit character in Matilda is. Well, the character's not a good guy in the movie, right?
No. She's kind of the villain. She's kind of the worst.
This is how they're reframing it as like a power play.
Exactly.
If you're skinny, you're like more powerful than a fat person.
Look, but
in their eyes.
Is, you can make a skinny person look heavier by adding prosthetics. You cannot make a fat actress look smaller by adding prosthetics. Like, there is a reason that like when, and I'm not saying all Hollywood body standards are healthy, but I think of like fashion models, right? And it's not, again, not the best example because it's an unhealthy industry, but like when you are asked to weigh a certain amount or be a certain size, it's because you're the hanger for the clothes. Like in this role, the actress and actor, right? They're like the hanger for this character. Yeah. They are meant to portray something. It's not a reflection on them necessarily. It's just a reflection on their job or what the skills they're bringing to the table.
It says, however, another pointed out that while they didn't necessarily disagree with the writer that Miss Trunchbull, who was played by Pam Ferris in the original movie, was the best choice to illustrate the message given her description. I agree with a lot of the sentiment in this article. However, Trunchbull is the worst example to prove that point. She's not thick plus size. She's Olympic class shot put javelin hammer throw plus size. She's a tank, meaning that they wanted to sculpt the suit to make her look a specific way that's relevant to the art.
Realistic.
Yes, exactly.
Well, so or arguably, are you asking for like a bodybuilding female? Like, should we have looked it shouldn't even be about fat. It should just be about women who are like insanely muscular for their physique.
It says anyone that plays Trunchbull has to be a tank or in a bodysuit that gives the actor a very specific body shape. Trunchbull has always been portrayed as at the very specific body shape that Trunchbull has always been portrayed as having. Trunchbull's size is never the butt of a joke, nor is she a sexualized character. She does, however, have to be big, scary muscle big, right? So it has nothing to do. They're focusing on the fact that they don't want her to be degraded or in some way insulted, right? But they find that hiring a skinny actress to play this role.
I didn't take it as being insulted. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I took it as being like they felt like it's skinny privilege, like a skinny person is getting a role that should have gone to a fat person.
That's what this main article is saying.
Which, like, I don't think is the case. That's not how this works. Also, like, again, if we believe that Trunchbull is this Olympic class, like she's like a hammer thrower, right?
They say this is getting ridiculous. This is the Irish TV producer Maya Dunphy also pointed out that Miss Trunchbull's physique and physical strength described the villainous character as almost superhuman. Sigh, this is getting ridiculous, she wrote. As for the sake of balance, Trunchbull is never, as I remember, described as fat. She is like a bull. She's super strong and almost superhuman. She could tear the phone book in half. She's a fantasy character built like a phone box.
But that's the thing. Like, if you were to be like, oh, we need a fat actress to play this, which, like, first off, I feel guilty describing someone that
I know,
way.
right?
But also, like, I don't think just being overweight qualifies you to theoretically portray someone who can rip a phone book in half, right? Yeah. Like, we are talking someone who is, like, like a female WWE wrestler is like the only thing I can think of. Who's someone who'd be like super muscular and also like not just like, oh, I'm toned and I
even that Pilates. Most of them aren't. They're mostly like swimmers builds.
I mean, because it's sort of an unrealistic body standard for women, and that's why often she gets portrayed as like, you know, in the 1994, she has like a waist, but she has like large breasts and large hips. Like there's a feminine quality to the way that her what we would describe as like a muscular body is presented.
And in the end, I think this just comes down to that the producers wanted an actor that was capable of doing this, and they found that Emma Thompson has both the acumen and the name recognition to be able to bring a certain amount of gravitas to this role. And they see it as basically there's the people who are what you'd consider an activist in this, what they literally call fat activism, see this as the size as the end-all be-all. The size to a producer, to an editor, to a director, to the the actor is just an aspect of a much larger project. It's just a hurdle that needs to be overcome in the telling of this story, and it shows a difference in their worldviews.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to be a hypocrite about this because I remember when we were first talking about Thor: Love and Thunder, we were mentioning the CGI used on Natalie Portman's arms to make her look more muscular than she actually is. Yep. And we were saying that we find it rather disturbing and that it would, or at least it should be, acceptable for her to play the role looking how she actually looks. Or you can pick someone who is muscular in real life and not like a very like dainty, petite looking actress like Natalie Portman. So does that make us like hypocritical for pointing that out?
Or would it be better, like following that line, if the CGI on Natalie Portman's arms are okay, is it the fact that it's a literal physical prosthetic bodysuit? Could we CGI Emma Thompson though, so she looks like the body? Like
probably, yeah, but would that be more work than?
I know, but if we're just following the lines of like prosthetics are bad, but CGI is okay, like can a skinny?
Well, I guess like CGI is only okay if it makes. If it makes a woman look more fit or more, but that's just betraying what people actually feel about it.
I know. It's like this weird thing where you, like, their standards don't make any sense. And so it's honestly not worth, I don't think it's worth analyzing, like, are you a hypocrite for that? Like, we're saying that their demands for this character don't even follow the canon or the function of this character, right? This character needs to be big to portray some of the aspects of what they're doing. Natalie Portman's character needed to be ripped. The question is, you know, because she's like Miss Thor, I don't even know, I don't watch the movie, but like she needed to look muscular. And our question was, does she have to look like a small man muscular, or can she look like a very fit woman to portray the character successfully? And that's where CGIing her arms for me hit the crossroads.
I guess in our eyes it was just difficult to believe because it's Natalie Portman and she is just naturally petite and like has a dainty frame, and it was strange that they picked an actress like that for a role like that.
Yeah,
when you could have easily found an actress who just naturally looks like that.
Yeah,
and I just didn't want to. I don't know. I didn't want to seem hypocritical in saying like you can change this but not that.
Again, like I think you're right, and it's good to be self-reflective, but like I don't really think this is a question of being hypocritical because like this body type of this fictional character is not realistic, and the demands that they're making that a fat actress should be the one to play this because it's bad to put her in a prosthetic actually doesn't help the situation at all, because a fat actress, I assume, probably wouldn't realistically be able to look like they could tear a phone book in half.
I want to talk about one more point in this article from this author, and it says, as a bigger woman, I find this characterization of my body type utterly dehumanizing and degrading. It's not ethical, authentic, or representative of any lived experience whatsoever, which is like the most hyperbolic statement
this
about... This
fictional character is not realistic
of anyone's lived experience. It's like, they're just making word salad.
I mean, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole with these people, they don't even think that you should portray a character in any negative light whatsoever if it looks like them.
Yes, exactly. That's what I said. They talk about characterization. Like, so does that mean you can literally only show them in a positive, glowing light, lest you be in trouble from general activists on the internet? And this is what Hollywood...
Oh no, but then you're patronizing. It's just like, it's not built for you to be able to win.
This is what Hollywood gets for embracing identity politics. It says it's not ethical, authentic, or representative of any lived experience whatsoever. I highly doubt that any actor that bears the brunt of a fat suit, as if it were a chore or a cross to bear, what society has deemed to be overweight, knows the pain of not finding clothes that fit. Or the person next to you on the plane sighing when you sit down in the middle seat, gym instructors telling you to work harder, strangers telling you to keep going when you run past them on the street, doctors telling you you're obese even though you're the average size for a woman, or a girl or girls at school avoiding you simply because you're just too fat. There's so much in that statement.
Much in that. Like, if a doctor's telling you you're obese, you're probably not the average size for a woman. Like, or just because the woman's size today is average, is higher, doesn't mean it's actually healthy for the human body.
I also want to say, the size of an American woman is
like a trainer would not be mean to Miss Trunchbull because Miss Trunchbull could throw them out the window. Like, this person is supposed to be.
Yeah, if your personality is so mousy and you're such a pushover that this is the kind of thing that
You're
you
not
talk
getting
about.
this
You're not
character.
even capable of characterizing this woman.
This is like not like Miss Treshman would eat you. You don't understand, and not because she's fat, but because she's just so ferocious. And part of that is that she's physically strong. Like she is big, but not because she is overweight. It's because she's muscular. This is crazy.
Want to do super chats? There's super chats
Sure.
there.
Let's get to it.
Oh.
Bad Penny said.
And it's a musical. I'm sorry.
It's
Just like
okay.
Hey, I made a strong
Does that
case.
make it worse?
I made a strong case for a reason why the Joker 2 sequel could work as a musical.
I know, and you're very eloquent, but I just got to boomerang back to the point that I don't know that these things are necessary. Why do we keep making remakes? Over to you,
Beautiful.
Mary.
Caper2X said, free speech for Hannah Claire, unleash our Kraken.
Oh, cool.
He also said, congrats, Mary, on your primetime IRL debut. Well, thank you. Bad Penny said there was a Buzz Lightyear of Star Command cartoon back in 2000. Yeah, I was reading about that today. I went to see the Lightyear movie for that cartoon, and it was not bad, and the kiss was a blink and you miss it thing.
Yeah, this is like they always like they want to give themselves credit for something that literally takes less than 2 seconds on screen, and then if they just didn't, and then they get the backlash from people who are annoyed by the virtue signaling. All when they had to do is just put it in the movie, leave it there, and most people wouldn't even wouldn't even notice that it happened.
See, I think it's like more amusing that there are countries that are like, no, hardline stance. Disney cannot buy us. Like, we will not permit these things. They're against our country values. Whether or not that's a right stance for them to take is a different issue, but that's really what I see. From
I applaud them.
Yep.
Because screw Disney.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.